Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom, to jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.
Witamy wszystkich bardzo serdecznie na 411 warsztatach poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim. Dzisiaj mamy niedzielę, 1 listopada 2020 rok. I na dzisiaj mamy temat tłumaczenie drugiej części 351 warsztatu poszukiwaczy wiedzy. I czas przetłumaczony na dzisiaj to jest od 2 godzin 23 do 2 godzin 32,8 sekund. Od 2 godzin 34 minut 57 sekund do 3 godzin 35 i ostatni fragment od 3 godzin 13 minut do 3 godzin 57. Tego warsztatu nam zostanie jeszcze chyba 8 minut, gdzie puścimy ten fragment w czwartek. Dzisiaj mamy święto wszystkich świętych. Tak więc myślę, że każdy wspiera duszę wszystkich, którzy odeszli i którzy są wśród nas. Tak więc zapraszam jeszcze raz. Obejrzyjmy po warsztacie. Porozmawiamy. Jeżeli będą jakieś pytania, to proszę zadawać i postaramy się na nie odpowiedzieć. Tak więc zapraszam serdecznie jeszcze raz. Oglądamy.
life in
I
peace.
think, Mahnaz, you have not heard one piece of the technology which is set in enhancement units, and that is the soul of peace. In the present system, which is in Linz, we have carried that through different way, and the same soul of peace will be transferred to all the Keshe Foundation produced systems for the body enhancement. We actually collected part of this material yesterday, and there are other pieces which is coming to it in the coming weeks that will be embedded in every enhancement unit produced by Keshe Foundation. That the man who receives, man as a human or any other creature, that receives the process through the enhancement unit, elevation of the soul to peace, permanent peace, become part of his soul. We transferred this from the soul of the head of the Keshe Foundation into the first unit. And now, as the both heads of the Keshe Foundation are of the same ethos, it'll be embedded as the essence of the soul of peace in every system on this planet, which the Keshe Foundation will produce. So, what you say that people might come in and change, they will come in and they will never change. This is one of the reasons we built these systems as part of the development of the peace. If you go back in the teaching of past couple of weeks, as I mentioned, in the coming time, elections around the world, they not only be a prerequisite by the constitution of the nation, but the prerequisite to deliver any kind of support in all levels by the Universal Council, that all those who stand for leadership of areas in the physical dimension of the man have to confirm they have been, they have accepted, and they reach the process of the peace in their soul. Be it through the enhancement unit, be it through other methods which the Universal Council see fit. You have to understand, most of the people come with two agendas into the system, into our lives. They have a private and a public agenda. Privately, they want to be a world leader. Publicly, they're servant to those who bring them to that point. I met with this challenge with Obama. When one of the knowledge seekers in Washington delivered the World Peace Treaty to the office of the White House, first of all, it had to be done that way. The response from Obama in the private letter to me was very, very clear, and I went public with it. From a nation point of view, I cannot be peaceful because I have to lead the world. From private life, I stay the same, loyal to peace. And in the large run, the work of the Universal Council and work of the use of the new technology has to be to bring the both souls, or soul of serving a nation and soul of serving man, become one. Many people, when they reach the point of power, they change position. And this will not happen anymore. This cannot happen.
I hope so.
I know so. I don't need to hope. I build the system to do so.
Good. And about the peace treaty, is it necessary, you think, that
peace treaty is there to sign? Man has to sign a peace to his soul. This is the cornerstone of all this work.
And you think students have to sign the peace treaty?
Every man has to sign it with the pen of the soul. There are no papers and there are no pens for our children who are born in the depth of the universe to sign. We have to learn to sign peace through with our soul, even it comes in the moment of anger.
Thank you very much.
You're
Bless you, all the blessings to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The knowledge which we dispense with is the knowledge of peace, is the knowledge of the creation and the creator. When you have all this, what's the use to be anything else? They test us, and every time we fail, we have to see why and the reason for it. And where does this take the mankind? And to what extent mankind is ready to take that position, or any others? I wonder if we bring a lion and put in an enhancement unit and go through the process of what I call enlightenment, elevation, whatever you call it, and we put back the same lion back in the wild, would he kill again? Or would he be elevated that we uses the soul to receive the food, but he still walks as a lion across the savannah? There is a big difference in the social structure of the souls than the social structure of the man. And that what man needs to learn from now on. And this is what will be taught in the next 4 or 5 weeks, or 4 or 5 months. The teachings will be very much combined of everything in every session. Technology, the ethos of the universe, the existence in the universe, the interaction in the universal community, and the rest of it. It's not subject by subject, it will be collectively, and it's for knowledge seekers to decipher which part and how you can integrate.
Fim aí nessas próximas semanas
com relação à mutação do vírus.
Traduz essa parte, Rafael,
Tá.
por favor.
So Wallace wants to know more about the mutation of the virus because he's hearing now that we are going through a second wave, this mutation, and if you could say something about this, please.
The mutation of the virus, as we've seen, is in the report. Read the report. Or the Portuguese need to translate the report from English to Portuguese.
A mutação do vírus está no artigo, né? A língua portuguesa vai ter que traduzir isso do inglês para o português.
The virus will still mutate.
Sim.
We expect the virus to become environmental virus than individual virus.
Então o vírus ele vai fazer a mutação, né? Nós esperamos o vírus se tornar um vírus ambiental, né? Não só individual.
In a way that we see interacts collectively with all proteins.
De uma certa forma vai interagir coletivamente com todas as proteínas.
this is a usual interaction in the universe, what we see. And it starts an individual, as it grows, it becomes evolved into a small environment, and then as takes more energy, it creates its own atmospheric condition and environment.
Então isso é muito comum acontecer no universo, né? Quando o vírus ele se torna num indivíduo só, ele começa a assumir um certo ambiente, começar a pegar sua própria energia e tomar conta do ambiente como um todo também.
And for us to interact at this level is much easier than individuals.
Para nós interagirmos nesse nível é muito mais fácil como indivíduos.
And usually at this stage the virus will collapse.
Geralmente nesse estágio o vírus colapsa.
What is one of our not concerns, but what we are watching is how the collective interaction of this virus long term in the body of the man will bring elevation to his soul. This is something which mankind has no awareness of. But the interaction of the fields of this virus or other viruses, which is stronger than the cell of the man, if handled the right way, can be used to elevate the soul of the man. As I said, all viruses are not bad. It's just that how we utilize it. This is how we put you in the enhancement unit to increase or elevate your soul. But if the world leaders and knowledge seekers understand this, you can use this energy which is higher than the man but is connected to the strength of this amino acid the way we do with some of the knowledge seekers which have used it. You will see the elevation of the soul. So there is an advantage and disadvantage to this virus and what we are facing with now.
Então, com relação
translate.
E com relação ao vírus, na verdade, tem algo que a gente está observando, né? Não é preocupação, mas estamos apenas observando com relação à evolução, como esse vírus pode fazer a evolução da alma do homem. Porque isso é algo que a humanidade ainda não aprendeu, um conhecimento que não está disponível para a humanidade. E, de uma forma coletiva, como o vírus, muitas vezes, a maioria dos vírus tem mais força que a própria célula do homem, ele pode ser trabalhado de uma forma de evolução para o homem, da alma do homem. Então é isso que a gente está trabalhando agora nessas unidades também, em vários pontos de tecnologia. É um conhecimento que não está ainda sendo trabalhado, ainda não é conhecido pelo homem, mas como esse vírus pode ser usado para essa elevação.
Sim. Eu tenho uma outra questão também, Rafael. Se
Mr. Keshe, Wallace, I have another question. Can you make this other question? Hello?
Se trata do seguinte, eu em um dos ensinamentos eu vi o senhor Keshe falar que ele estava fazendo compras em um mercado e ele falou que conseguiu sentir os campos do vírus ali naquele lugar. Eu quero fazer um relato também que eu tenho sentido esses campos frequentemente, assim, quando eu vou a algum lugar que tem muitas pessoas. E eu queria saber se realmente é isso que está acontecendo. Tipo, eu sinto os campos na região
você quer saber se você
do
está sentindo
estômago.
esses campos do coronavírus, é isso?
Sim, tipo assim,
Tá.
Os lugares que eu fui tinham diversas pessoas. Eu queria explicar como é que eu sinto, né? Para saber se dentro do que ele
eu vou
entende,
colocar
se realmente...
a pergunta para ele, talvez que tipo de coisa você
só
sente.
uma coisa, coloca só assim para ele, tipo assim, eu sinto na região do abdômen, intestino, abdômen, na parte nas laterais, eu sinto esses campos.
So Wallace's question is about one of the teachings. You said that you were able to feel the fields of the virus when you were walking in the supermarket. And Wallace said that he is feeling some of these fields too, and he would like to know from you if this is the virus of the fields, it's the fields of the virus or not. Usually he feels in his stomach and the sides of his belly. So this would be like the fields of the virus. He feels some pain in that area.
We, all of us, have the ability and the possibility to feel any fields, not necessarily just only the virus. And this is what we can do. Not only one person can, many of us, we feel it. You walk into an environment and it's there. We see it, I see it quite frequently. And other people. It's not unique. If you are tuned to your environment, to your soul, it should be very easy to see.
Então, na verdade, a gente pode sentir campos, vários tipos de campos, né? Não só necessariamente do vírus, né, no ambiente. E, na verdade, muitas pessoas sentem isso, não é algo especial de alguém. Se você está conectado com a sua alma, você vai ser capaz de até ver esses campos e sentir esses campos muito claramente. São diferentes, não necessariamente de um vírus.
Sim, mas especificamente depois dessa questão do corona, e depois de eu ter feito o tratamento com GANs, porque eu acredito que eu peguei, né, essa mutação que atingiu os tecidos vermelhos. Depois disso, eu comecei a, sair aí no centro da cidade e tinha um acúmulo de muitas pessoas ali. Eu sempre comecei a sentir esses campos mais frequentemente depois disso. Era isso que eu queria colocar para ele.
So he just would like to put to you this because after he felt that he think that he got the coronavirus for the red tissues, and after this he became more sensitive for these fields. So that's why he was putting this question.
A lot of us will feel these fields because it touches our emotions just like the way we catch cold. Many of us know when it's touched by this virus. Because it's now we are aware of it. We know it's a field and we know when we sense it. And as I said, part of the strength of this virus is the strength of the soul of the man. That's why it interacts. Our soul is created from interaction of the amino acid of the body of the man. So if he has a strength that we can interact with the amino acid of our body, it will interact with the soul of the man too. And this is understandable. Some of us will feel it because its strength is at the strength of our soul, which is created by the strength of the combination of strength of the amino acid. It's very much like we know when we die. We know many people feel that point of saturation, reaching the maturity of the soul, days or weeks or months before. And then they tell their family or people nearby or people who know them that I know I'm gonna, just way. Hello, have you heard what I said?
No, your voice cut. Sorry, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah, the last sentence or so we lost you there, cut off.
Yeah, this is what I said. Our soul. I don't know if you heard about the people who die. I explained that. Did you hear it?
Yeah, we could hear the beginning of this, and then
many of us become aware of the time of a maturity of our soul to leave our physicality. We know many people tell their family or their friends that I know such a time in the next few weeks or days or months, I'll die, I'll pass to the next level. Because it's within our structure. We know when our soul is fulfilled. And we understand the process very simply.
Então, na verdade, é muito comum, né? A partir de agora, nós sentimos mais esses campos do vírus e muitos de nós vamos começar a ser mais sensíveis a esses campos dos vírus, né? Então, o que acontece, na verdade, é algo que o homem tem que começar a conhecer e se familiarizar mais, porque, na verdade, o vírus, como ele tem uma interação direta com a parte do aminoácido, então isso é atingido e é alcançado pela alma do homem também, e a alma começa a sentir e a perceber isso. Então, o Sr. Keshe estava dando uma referência também com relação a muitas pessoas que estão próximas da morte, elas conseguem sentir e saber que vão morrer, porque a alma sabe daquilo pela interação dos campos também que estão se aproximando. Então, você tem essa interação e essa conexão com esses campos do vírus vai ser muito comum de agora em diante as pessoas sentirem ou entrar no ambiente pela essa conexão a nível de aminoácido que faz esse link com a alma do homem.
Muito boa explicação, Rafael. Rafael, e só mais uma coisa, quando eu fiz o tratamento com água plasmada, foi em meados de março, entre abril e mais para abril. Ao longo dos meses, eu vim fazendo o tratamento, né, com os 2 copos, e durante algumas semanas eu relatei isso para ele. Eu sentia ainda algumas anomalias, assim, vamos dizer, no intestino. E hoje estou super bem, cara, assim, em relação à saúde, ao aparelho digestivo.
A sua pergunta seria com relação ao pós?
Não, era uma coisa que eu queria passar para ele saber. E aí
okay.
Só restou esses campos, né, que eu fiquei sensitivo a isso. Só isso.
So just something that he would like to update you, Mr. Keshe, like he was with coronavirus, and after he was infected and he made the procedure with the gas water, he felt better, but after he was feeling in the abdominal area something, but later he started to feel better of that too, with the keeping using the gas water. So just one thing that he would like to share with you was this, that after all this procedure with the gas water, he became more sensitive for the fields, especially in the area of the belly, of abdominal area.
Thank you very much. Now that we understand the knowledge of the soul, we understand the knowledge of creation, we should understand that we are part of a collective soul of the universe. And how do we interact with it? And gradually, as we were not aware, we always put it at, magic or a surprise, or we could not explain the fundamental knowledge behind it. Now we just need to look into feel the strength of it, to understand it's part of a bigger structure, where it came from, how does it interact, and how does it make a creation of condition for us. And this is what is the so-called elevation of the soul of man, is elevation of understanding the new knowledge, is understanding and processing the new knowledge. Is not what does it mean by elevating a soul? It means to be able to receive higher order knowledge, enlightenment. And that enlightenment comes as a light to the strength of the understanding of the comprehension of the knowledge at that point. If you only can see to the red color, if you say, that gives you the knowledge of understanding the work of the universe at the base level, human race. And then when you enlighten, and let's say you go to the green color, the strength, which is more, then you understand about the creation of the same thing, but in a higher level, much deeper. And it's this process that we need to understand. And this is what we have to understand. That, or then let's say we go to the white light, which needs more energy, or we get enlightened to the level of the creation of the prophet, or the messengers, or the people who have more knowledge of totality. And then if you reach what we say the color of the gold, which is the enlightenment of the creator. When we see in the aura of a man the sign of gold or white, we understand his position. The way we see by the light somebody is red to us, it means danger to us. Maybe somebody else sees that's green, the same field, because to him it can exist, but for us, it means we have to give something if we are ready to give. Many of scholars or people who are versed in this understanding of the auras they always tell me when they see a white with a gold. Or more times when I teach, they observe my teaching, they say, you enlighten with the gold, your aura changes. It's understanding of it, is understanding to the man. The gold color means the highest value, we value something. And it could be another interpretation to another soul. So what we need to understand, the teachings, is to enhance the knowledge of the higher order for humanity or any culture. This is the process we go through. But would it allow us this knowledge to extend our manifestation to be in different strength dimensions? Yes. In a way, if you look at it, it's like an adapter on the wall where you switch the light on and you adjust it to the dimmer, to the brighter, and to the maximum. Now, we have given the knowledge to man to control this dimmer. But still there is a maximum if you get to the highest. So up to now, it was just when you switch the light on and you just see the first shimmers of light in the bulb. That's the state of the soul of the man at the present, because the knowledge is very limited. It's the same energy, it's the same love, it's the same principle. Then by knowledge, you increase it a little more. It's the same bulb, it lights but more. You can see more. It's not shadows of the shapes, but you see more of it. It's the same with the knowledge. We enlighten you, so by enlightenment you receive more. And in that process, you see more. But nothing has changed, the furniture is still the same. And then, when you put a full light, then you see everything in totality. And that's what it is. And the knowledge and the teaching is on this basis. We just
Hello, Mr. Keshe. You just cut out there suddenly. Perhaps it's my system.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Just,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what did you hear?
It just suddenly cut out just about 10 seconds ago at the most.
Okay, so this is what I said, is an enlightenment. When we teach the same, this is the same current going through the structure. It depends how tuned your soul is to receive the knowledge and what does it interpret by that knowledge. This is the essence of the teaching. As we said, the love of the Creator is equal to all men. It shines on all. It's the same current going through the same wiring in the house. One room, you dim it a little bit darker because you want to sleep. You don't want to see. You don't want to understand what goes on. In the other room, you light it a little bit up. You want to keep a calm situation, but you are there. And in another room, you want a full light because you're working. But in essence, it's the same current through the wiring of the house. We have to understand that the knowledge is an enlightenment. What does enlightenment means? It means according to understanding of our own creation and environment, we lighten up the same. But different people with different understanding get enlightened in different way, but the knowledge is the same. And this is one of the reasons I say in the Keshe Foundation, we cannot keep on copying. We have to add to the knowledge of what our soul carries, that it shows its beauty to us. Mankind has to evolve to understand he's much higher than what it is today. Mankind has to evolve to understand that he represents more, which he wasn't aware of up to now. It's just, as I said many times, that we call human race the four-wheelers. I've said that many times, because human race sees motion in four wheels as it can do, because they found the cartonic wheel. But that was the past. At the moment, with the knowledge which the man has achieved, man in so many ways is heading many, many things in the universe, in the creation, by conversion and use of matter. It's not that mankind is the bottom of the rack. As you take knowledge from the universal community, some of the knowledge is even the essence of the soul of man is taught to the rest. We are teachers while we are students. That's why we call you knowledge seekers. That's why I call myself a knowledge seeker. I seek the knowledge of the creation and evolution of it. Not that I know all and I'll be all. That's why we allow knowledge seekers to show what they achieve, because they enlighten, they bring addition. And this is how it should be. And we've seen those who get lost in the power of one little things and they think they are everything. Then we see they create their own demise, because that's the level they reached. Maturity of the man comes in his humbleness, not in his arrogance. And when you have a knowledge, you become humble, because you know you can do and what you can achieve. Many people think we are stupid and we let go of everything and whatever. No, we let you to understand your own capabilities, your own power. What is essentially you? What does it mean to be a human? Better alternative than the presence for hunger, for eradication of diseases, for extending the existence of life beyond the boundary of this planet.
That's very beautiful. Thank you.
This is what is taking shape with the help of the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers in Iran. The fundamental basis of it is set. And upon our return to Iran, we'll introduce this style of leadership, where Iranian scientists and Iranian structure of leadership will take over, leading through the science and technology, not through any other ways. Oil has no value where we can produce it. Gold has no value we can produce as we need. A new ethos will come, and with it, convincing and bringing new understanding to the world leaders that will take shape. My plan is a meeting of the heads of states in Tehran in the coming time to plan new financial structure, new leadership, that our leaders are elected by how they can scientifically serve the man and not through taxes, because we don't need to pay any taxes. You'll understand this very correctly in the coming time. You can produce your own motion, you can create your own energy, you can create your own food, you can create your own medicine. What do we pay for taxes for? Unless we pay taxes by donating our time and our intellect to serve the others. The biggest problem for humanity is to find a job to serve in the coming time, not to find a job to exist and live. And this is a change. This is how the universe works. This is part of the amalgamation of the universal community ethos through the Universal Council for Humanity.
Time to work on ourselves would be the leisure time that we have.
In a way, time to serve us as a human race and the rest of the universal community, yes.
Yes.
You see, there's a very beautiful example of it. In Iran, in most of the cities, we have empty lands between the buildings. You know, one building is built, the other building is 2 plots or 3 plots away, and the land is wasted. What the Iranians, especially in Tehran, was done, the communities, people start changing these lands to a park. Individual parks between houses where the community could enjoy. Nobody asked them, nobody gave them permission, it was the essence of creating what we call the Behesht, the heaven, which comes from the Persian language. A few trees, few grasses, few plants, and it changed the derelict land to a place for everybody in the community to enjoy. And people did this freely. Wasn't encouraged by the councils. So we've seen mankind can take those kind of evolution. We have no time, we have the place, we make it for the others to enjoy more. We've seen that starting in Saudi Arabia a couple of years ago, where a Saudi put a fridge outside the house and put what he doesn't need in the house in the fridge and said, take what you need. And then we've seen the evolution of it. Mankind will come to serve.
We do that in Australia. We plant on the footpath vegetables and herbs for people to take as they please.
It is. That's what they'll become.
Yeah.
Serving humanity to benefit, it become the job of many of us. We don't need to retire to do it. We teach it from the young age to our children.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
The cruelty of man is beyond imagination. The cruelty of man is beyond anyone can imagine. If man wants to be cruel. And if you give your life to serve, you accept all the alternatives of it. And it touches us individually, it touches social structure, it touches our nations. And many times you carry these with knowing that there is a better future for it. and we understand it. We do it to protect. And I don't think nobody has been at the end of it as much as I have in the past 10 years. But every time I take it with the pride, I take it with another step. There's a reason for it. And this will become the norm for humanity. There is a reason we are at this point learning what we learned. And it means that we are ready to take the next step. And mankind is in that step. World leadership has lost control. We can't even control our cities. We are all in a lockdown. And in so many ways, we look at it as a bigger plan, but there's a bigger plan behind the plan to cover. Even what they plan to do, there's a plan for that, because it's there to create the next condition of freedom of the man. Everything is not as bad as what you look, but we have created the condition for the whole of human race to elevate in the coming time. And not just by nations and by boundaries. You got to realize something very fundamental. At the moment, with this corona and the lockdown, they're locking down the big cities. Nobody's locking down the villages, the small towns. What is the bigger plan behind it? Why do we only concentrate on what we call cities? Because there's a political agenda behind it. And that political agenda suits the Keshe Foundation process of the bring up the technology, new changes, absolutely perfect. But to the eye of many of you, there is a sinister job behind it. Yes, there is. But we looked at the opportunities it has created for development and the spread of new technology. And with it, the elevation of the soul of the man.
In service, we grow.
In elevation, we get enlightened.
Yes, we do.
Any other questions?
Yes, I'd like to hear from Hassan next, and then we have a question from Alberto in the Q&A. Just a minute here. Not sure if Hassan had his hand up or not. He didn't open the microphone, the hand is down. Okay, let's go on to Alberto's question. Alberto is asking, can you please ask Mr. Keshe if nano and GANs jewelry is safe to wear? He had previously sent a question regarding that, saying that some people are selling and buying pendants and bracelets and so on. And he remembers 6 years ago, a Korean lady asked Mr. Keshe why a nano-coated copper belt she had been wearing for weeks made her feel so good. And he said to not wear it all the time because any major organs in the body that are near the nano-coated wire would become lazy and lose their normal functioning, and that would create a bigger problem. So perhaps you can comment generally about the use of nano-coated and GANs-coated jewelry, Mr. Keshe.
I always go back to one thing which my grandmother always would tell me: moderation in everything. Moderation in eating, moderation in pleasures, moderation in everything brings a balance in life. The nano materials, nano coating of gases, in moderation for the term of use, yes. But long term, or frequent term of use can bring changes because it directly is a nanomaterial, interacts with the fields of the body. But it takes what it needs from it. But in essence, we have to be very careful that we don't create a local condition. You got to realize with anything which is nano and GANs like braces, you're dealing with a dynamic energy and your body carries a blood which is dynamically interacts. It's two dynamic magnetic fields continuously balancing and taking from. But at the same time, you have a bone structure, you have a muscle tissue, which constantly are kept at a certain strength compared to the rest of the body. In a way, if you move it around the body to bring a balance, yes, but not even frequent, not on a continuous basis. Even when you go into the enhancement system, it's the same. What we said, and I've given many examples about it, the best one we know, and I've explained this many times before, is a creation of black diamond. When the black diamond was launched by the Russians to the markets in last century, every woman wanted to have a black diamond because it was something very rare. But nobody was told that these black diamonds in Russia were created using radioactive materials. And what actually did, they bombarded one of the cell or one point of the structure of the diamond, and it created black gaseous, and that reflected across the stone. But that condition, because it was done by radiation, carried the radiation effect in it. And many women who wore jewelries, especially black pendulum, they created a bone cancer because it was continuously on the chest bone, in the weaker part of the bone. And we saw it, and now it's illegal. Unless you can prove your black diamond is a natural black diamond, you cannot wear it, you cannot even buy it. So if you had it a few seconds and you took it up, yes, but women were proud to wear it day and night, and we saw the result of it. Many women died of it. Everything in moderation. But with the gases and with the plasma technology, you don't have that problem. But in moderation, yes.
Mr. Keshe, I'd like to show a picture from Gianni, who had sent me a couple of pictures of his plants in his greenhouse in regards to what you were just saying, everything in moderation. And perhaps this can kind of be an example of that moderation, I think. So let me just share a couple of these pictures that he has. I'll get them set up here. Second. So we see the plant, this ivy type plant, growing in his greenhouse, and the one branch has gone over to a GANS container. Looks like maybe the first cup set up, and another branch has gone over to his nano-coated coils, which he keeps hanging. You could see other ones hanging on the far wall and on the side wall there, and there's another one behind the post. And so he has these regularly spaced, and this plant has gone over and is now hanging out with the GANS container. So that, I mean, there's salt and everything else there. It hasn't engaged with the salty end yet or anything, but it knows that there's something good there, I guess, it seems. And if we look at the other coil, you can see how it's intertwined through the nano-coated coil and happily continuing up to the very top of the roof of the establishment. So I thought that was quite interesting and almost like a classic example of how these materials can be beneficial. But like you say, everything in moderation, and we have to be careful.
Can I ask you a question? Did these plants go to this, or did he direct them to be there?
I don't know. Gianni would have to answer that. I don't know if he's...
It looks like it's been directed that way. He pulls them, or do they pull themselves to these positions?
Yeah,
You
I'm
see,
not sure.
the best example of this is the sunflower. You see, when you pass these huge fields with the sunflower nearly 50 centimeters in diameter, and they're literally like a satellite dish. They all turn. You come back in the afternoon, they're all looking the other way.
Mm-hmm.
But we never understood why. Now we understand why. Now, if you understand the process of the work of the sunflower, is the same work as the enlightenment of the soul of the man. At a given strength and given field of strength, it can trigger to stand up. Many of you, if you've been, I'm sure, farmers, you've seen it, sometimes there's a daylight, but all the sunflowers are heading down. They're not looking up. The whole field is bent down because the strength of the sun at that point is not the strength of the soul of the plant. And they all collectively feel it. And then you pass a few hours later and you see they all, rise up and all following the sun. That is not by heating, it is by the strength which reaches the soul that you follow to receive. We have to understand, is he going there or he's directing them to go there?
Okay, well, we can certainly ask Gianni's not here right now, but he often communicates, so we can find out about that.
Any other question? Or shall we call it a day? We are around about 12:30.
Yes, let me see. We have one more hand up. Perhaps we can allow R. Thomas to speak, and then maybe we can wrap things up.
Yes, hello. Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, Mr. Keshe,
You are from Switzerland, am I correct?
That is correct, yes.
Yes, carry on, please.
There is just something which is discussed in Switzerland about the Hadron Collider in Geneva in CERN. They had been trying in September to create a black hole. And as far as we understand from the outside, it has not functioned. It sort of was a failure. And lately they are talking again that they want to try again.
The thing is, let me come into it.
Please.
Scientists never fail. Scientists don't achieve what they go for because they haven't understood the conditions. Maybe they achieved something else, and as they were not looking for it, they missed it. The CERN system is heavily financed and backed by the Iranian scientists and government. One of the major contributors is the Iranian government. And in so many ways, always, because I know a couple of scientists there, long time, they always look for a specific condition in CERN. And this is one of the biggest problems with them. And at the same time, then they miss a lot of other things which happened because they were not interested. But later on, they found out what they were ignored is what they actually was needed to do things with. So if they couldn't create a black hole and they try again, what else did they learn from it that they ignored? You
of
understand?
Course, here, right. I'm just talking about that because certain physicists have sort of expressed their how shall I say, that they don't really feel good about that, because they say there could be some accidents, and actually that that looking for creating black holes seems to, for them, to be some problem.
Creating a black hole is the knowledge we already have. We know you can do it by creation of plasma or gases. You don't need to go to CERN to do it. If you read my paper about creation of black hole, and now you understand the gas technology, it should be very easy for many of you to produce it. But one of the fears, because coming from a nuclear industry, one of the biggest fear of these scientists is, if we reach that point of creation of black hole, what would be its implication? What would it suck in? Would it suck in the whole of the CERN program? They have some valid concern, but in the condition of their knowledge, not the true knowledge of the gas technology. This is the problem. If they understand, there won't be such a concern, but their concern is very correct. There is some concern. It's a huge concern. We had the same concern as the CERN scientists when the original tokamaks was launched by the Russians in 1960s, 50s, and came up, because the Western world couldn't understand the tokamak, and the Russians were spending billions on it. So they started creating a scaremongering, fears, because this way they could stop the progress of the tokamak till the West could reach it, reach the knowledge which the Russians were reaching. So some of the people who create these concerns, you have to see where their bank balance sits. What is going to interfere? It doesn't mean all of them are that way, but many of the scientists in CERN have other interests than CERN. And many scientists outside create concern because through fear, they stop the progress of the development of it. We have this now with the Keshe Foundation. And it's actually worked to the benefit of the Keshe Foundation.
I think the concern, oh, sorry, excuse me.
Carry on, carry on.
I think some of these people who are concerned is that some of the activity of CERN are in no way for the advantage of humanity, and are even dangerous.
CERN has 80% military application, 20% civilian. We know this. CERN has never been built for civilian purpose. CERN was launched and backed, and now the Chinese are trying to make a bigger system as CERN, and is headed by an Iranian physicist. He is taking the seat of Einstein in the US. And the Americans brought him to China. He was there when I was there. And they told us that he's here and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of it, even the Chinese are not looking for structure like CERN, a torus/torus, for civilian use. If something comes from civilian, it will be, but primarily structures like CERN, which gets financed so heavily, is what in the background the governments can use it for military and defense. CERN has a huge application and implication in defense laser technology. That's why they're looking into it. That's why they're financing it this way. It's not just creating a faster speed plasma, it's creating new plasmatic weapon technology. This is the main principle. So much finance has been put into CERN. Initially was to build a collective laser beam. but in the plasma condition. And military has never let go. CERN is a total military program. Even it looks on the outside is a civilian program. And
So
there is other, pardon?
So with the extending the notion of plasma technology, can we hope that the activity of CERN, as far as weapons are concerned, can we hope that there will be slowly and slowly sort of like disappear and be of no use anymore?
Maybe. I have the same concern with the plasma technology. And that's why I said we need to elevate the soul of the man. Well, there is a concern. I looked at this some years ago because I can't remember the exact way of it. Some of the people who were during my time of education were in Queen Mary. They went to CERN. They were doing the preliminary training for CERN. And I still remember a tall guy, Iranian, very slim. He was very deeply involved with my professor because we had the same professor as advisor in this process of CERN. And I came to a conclusion at that time, because we were brought in to listen and as juniors to understand, but we still had a mind of our own thinking. And some of the nuclear physicists and the plasma physicists have this concern with CERN. Now they speak about the black hole. If we create such a black hole and we know the properties of the black hole, can we contain it? This black hole will not be created inside the CERN system. The black hole will be created in the center of the CERN. If you have, let's say, 1 kilometer diameter, it won't happen inside the ring. It'll happen in the center focus of this ring. That's where the black hole they should be looking for, not on the ring. Maybe they created it, but they couldn't contain it. The black hole doesn't really sit on its rings. The black hole works from its center. And this is a pitfall with the scientists who work with this in CERN. If they could pick a position somewhere in about the center of it, as it's a circular, they should dig in the center point and look for creation of black hole, not on the ring. They create the boundary fields of it, which concentrates the fields into the center. This is one of the pitfalls I explained to the people who produced the CERN from the beginning. It's been one of my concern, not a concern, but observation, that they should have built a massive center in the center of the ring. The plasma works through its center and they never understood. I can't remember the diameter of the CERN circle, but take a diameter, make a control system observation in the center of it, dig a hole in the center of the circle and observe the property there, not at the ring and not at the plasma rotation. This is a pitfall with it. You're creating things, but you're not following the rest of the world of the physics. Everything, when you create a dynamic plasma, happens in the center. Rick can tell you, when you put gases inside the ball and you create a right rotation, you get the empty space in the center. How can it be different with CERN? This is what I raised with the Chinese. My concern is not a concern, is understanding the science and seeing people just wanting to do something. If the scientists at CERN, the people who built it, would have built a 20, 30, 50 centimeter observation point in the center of this circle, because we precisely know what it is, we would have observed and studied many, many phenomena. But we are not there. We're just looking at the boundary. And this is the problem. They most probably, because they don't understand, they created a black hole, but in the center, not at the rings. And they see it as a failure. Maybe they achieved it, but because they are looking in the wrong place. We cannot create a dynamic, elongated through the black hole. And if you can produce this, you can suck all the energies of the universe, because then you'll feed the center. This is the beginning of the end, but with the black hole will suck everything in. So on the other hand, it means they haven't reached such a position because it will have the reverse impact on it. They should have seen interferences in all their systems outside. All the electronic systems would have been interfered with, if you understand the work of the plasma. We had this a few weeks ago in research center. They were sitting on top of the computer, they were looking on the meters, but we were seeing overwhelming field over what it was put in. And I explained to them, this is what I've been telling you, plasma saturation overrides matter state. In CERN, the people built it, never understood the work of the physics. If you put a what they call dynamic, especially cut glass in the center of this center point which I talk, you can beam up a laser up into the sky, which will shine right across Switzerland. But they don't understand it because the energy comes into the center. They're looking into the machinery they built. This is the problem with CERN, and it's the problem the same with the Chinese, they want to build it.
So aren't they running enormous risks?
Not really, because the mass energy of the rocks will absorb most of this. That's why I said you have to build a 20-30 meter diameter that the fields have only the environment to interact with, not the solid matter of the rocks. There is no risk because they don't understand it and they cannot create energy to reach that point. It's a problem. It's a big problem with CERN. And they don't understand it. Maybe in the future, the scientists will dig this hole and understand the plasma work from its center. This is the boundary of it. In a way, there's a matter state of it they're dealing with, not with the fields that is centralized in center. If they would have built tunnels from the center to the ring, if you understand what I'm talking about, it would have been very effective. They would have seen new knowledge because the field transfer will come through, will build up and it go up. But as I said, it's a half-cooked job. Now we understand the plasma technology. All of you have a dynamic core. You put it on, you see where the energy goes in the center. Your gases stick to the wall. Where you have the gases that stick to the wall, it's the same ring at the moment. We understand? But we rotate our plasma by dynamism of the motor. They're rotated by the magnetic field transmission of the plasma. Scientists have not understood the essence of the creation of the plasma. And this is one of the biggest problems. And all of you, in 10 minutes, because you know the gas technology in it, you understood more than all the scientists have said. That's the beauty of when you know the knowledge, how simply you can explain.
So I'm just hoping that they sort of don't really
they
cannot do it, and therefore
let them do it, but the Earth fields will absorb it because they haven't understood where they're failing.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah,
It's good to keep a few people PhDs busy.
Oh, that's
Many
wonderful.
PhDs has come out of CERN with a useless ink.
I think there's a few thousand that work on it at any one particular time.
Yes.
Because they have so many experiments running simultaneously.
Yes, there's a lot of it going on. The Iranian plasma physicists in nuclear industry are the only time in two places are allowed to participate. You see them especially like in universities working on the plasma, and then they go back to CERN to complete it. I've met many of them. And then there are those who go into the weapon technology.
Yes, and that's what I really, this weapon technology, this sort of, I don't know where mankind, what they really think when they say it's through weapon technology we'll reach peace.
This is the American mentality. With more wars, we reach domination, and when we reach domination, we reach peace because everything is ours. We don't need to fight within ourselves. That's the philosophy behind it. This is the American mentality, and that when we run the world, when we create enough mayhem, then it's one nation of United States dictating to everyone, and then there'll be peace because it's us. Where in the ethos of the Keshe Foundation, we're giving so much knowledge that man does not kill. We achieve peace without weapons. As I said to President Obama, I don't know if you read his paper, I published it. And when we gave him the peace treaty, the original peace treaty, which was delivered by one of the knowledge seekers in Washington before, he wrote a very long 2-page letter to me. And he started the worst thing. He says, "Dear Mehran," it just took my heart. I said, now I know what I'm going to get from him. And he wrote in there, it's in the archives. I think you can find it in the web pages of the archives. He was trying to explain that why he has to develop weapon technology, have the most advanced weapon technology to be able to create peace by being superior power. By being able to kill and destroy as much as possible. And I wrote to him, if you see in my response, I said, "Dear Obama, Barack, my way and your way is 32 different ways and we'll never meet." It's how we reach it.
This man is really something. I mean, he got a Nobel Peace Prize before he was even president, and he is the one who started the most wars of all presidents together.
Yeah, it's the essence of superiority by who paid your bill. This is what I said very recently. We don't sell our souls. If you knew what I've gone through to keep what we have and the way we have, you don't even want to know. And I still stand it. I lost my children, I lost my home, I lost everything possible, my health, but I stand by my ethos. 2 Thursdays ago, while I was teaching in the center, my house was occupied and I became homeless. Again, by those who betrayed the foundation. They knew I'm in the teaching center and they broke in and I became homeless. Again, by the same misconducted Belgians. I paid a lot for the foundation. This is not unfortunate. This is how I paid. But
yes, but Mr. Keshe, I mean, I've lived this in Switzerland. I showed to everybody on a website that we in this clean country have washed the tooth gold which was broken out of the dead people in Sarajevo, And then I was told, my God, what a thing you'll make. That's where only 15,000 deaths. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable how what you said before. How people are just, I don't know. So yes, they took. I have the same. They took everything from me, but I was not prepared to take this website away. Because
but the thing is, what we believe in and what we live in is two different things.
Right, but if you keep your personal ethos, it doesn't really matter. You will get everything you need to live. Maybe not a plane or a Rolls Royce, but I have now everything I need to live like a normal man. Maybe a lot of things less, no vacation, no this, no that, but within me, I have peace. And if I would have listened to them, most probably I would have become I don't know what, but where would the peace, my inner peace, where would that have gone? And without that inner peace, there is no reason to live.
You see, it's the ethos we live by. When I found out how Dirk was using the Keshe Foundation, when I found out how Alan Sterling was using the Keshe Foundation, how he was actually using his own server as an IP to see who's coming in and who are the children to pick up, for me it was a straight cut to go for it, even though we saw the damage that came to us. Now we see a new structure has come up on the same basis, the same people, trying to set up websites to get a new women and the children into it by sisterhood and the rest to pick up your IPs. See how many of your children and your family will disappear with the new newer structure they are trying to set up again by the Belgians. We cut their hands and arms. Now the same lady has started the same thing, asking knowledge seekers to help us to set up IT that we can do to bring more children into, because they're involved in it. This is the way this nation lives. And as I said in the teaching, anybody helps, imagine who your children and your grandchildren and the children of other people will become. They use your visit to pick up your destination, and then they pick up the rest of it from it, make friends, and then how many you lost? How did Alan Sterling work? How did Turkey was? Now we see another Belgium asking to set up IT, and you see the thing. We protected the foundation from these things. You got to understand, the new sisterhood, the new website to come is again IP access to your children and your grandchildren and your wives, and most probably your husbands, because that's a bigger plan. So we have to understand, we have to stay with our ethos. And this is how it is. You will see invitations, especially using the links of the foundation, cut it off. Remember one thing, your yes, your support puts you and your family in it, and then the people who trust you to come in it, unless you're a source of, you want to be a source of these things, and they use it freely. We saw how out of Alan Sterling, over 120,000 Peter Pans have been found, and up to 7,000 now have been captured. Now they come through a new way. Let us help me to set up ethos knowledge seekers. You're a knowledge seeker, never touch, because you get involved in the things which my ethos doesn't sit with. This is awareness of the truth. And these people, very simply, have a long history of criminal pedophilia in the family. All
To jest koniec tłumaczenia na dzisiaj. Jeśli ktoś chciałby zabrać głos, to zapraszam. No dobrze, jeśli nie ma pytań, nie ma wypowiedzi, to na dzisiaj skończymy. To były 411 warsztaty poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim z niedzieli 1 listopada 2020 roku. Tak więc dziękuję za dzisiaj, dzięki za przetłumaczenie, życzę dobrej nocy i do usłyszenia i spotykamy się w czwartek.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego. ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto, co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz. Że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej. By być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.